Good morning, I'm Adam Sexton. In the last session, the 400-member New Hampshire House was so close to being evenly divided, it created some unique situations. Now, Republicans hold a more decisive numbers advantage, giving the majority a little bit more legislative breathing room to get things done. This morning, House Majority Leader Jason Osborne joins us to discuss the session ahead. Mr. Majority Leader, thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Adam. Thanks for having me.
So let's start with a practical matter. It's been so cold, a lot of people are going to start seeing those home heating bills for this month come through, and it's going to be high. They need relief. That's been something that's been talked about for a long time. There's no silver bullet. You can't just snap your fingers in Concord and make those prices go down. But what groundwork will be laid in this session to try to bring some relief to those energy consumers?
Sure. Like you said, these prices did not get where they are overnight, and they're not going to come down overnight. But we do have a number of bills that have been filed to both lay the groundwork for increased production in the future, as well as decoupling ourselves from some of the failed, costly, so-called green policies of our neighbors.
Yeah, take us through what are some ideas that can, at least on the horizon, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 years out, is there a project out there you'd like to see get done?
I'll bring up one bill in particular that Chairman Vose has brought forward, where he wants to allow new energy producers to be able to sell directly to their customers without regulation, as long as they're not connected to the grid. And I think that's going to be a really exciting topic to be talking about this year.
In terms of supply, obviously it looks like offshore wind is probably on the way out with the Trump administration coming in and his antipathy toward that. Natural gas, I mean, is there any kind of project you see on the horizon?
Sure, and I don't know that there's anything we can do at the state level right now to increase natural gas transport into the state, but we're certainly hopeful that the new federal administration is going to be willing to make that happen for us.
Now, in her inaugural address, Governor Ayotte announced this new Commission on Government Efficiency, COGE, there, kind of an homage to the Elon Musk efforts in D.C., DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. Where in state government do you think this new commission should look first?
Oh man, I'm sure there's lots of places to look, but in fairness to all our past governors, I'm sure this is kind of a process that has been done informally all along. But for the new governor to really formalize that process, put it out in front of the people so that they can see the ideas that are being brought forward from the private sector, so that they can weigh in as well, I think it's going to be great, and looking forward to seeing what they come up with.
Yeah, is there somewhat of an implication here in just the creation of the commission that somehow legislative Republicans who've written the last two budgets have left fat to cut in them?
Well, there's always more, right? I mean, we could do this infinitely. We cut 10% every single budget and still have quite a sizable budget after another 50 years. But again, I think it's much more about getting it out in front of everybody, what the ideas that are being brought forward. Again, these conversations normally happen behind the scenes. People don't get to see them. Getting it out there in front is going to be a great way to increase transparency and get more people involved in that process.
COGE versus DOGE, which one do you think will be more effective?
I think we can always be more effective on the state level than they can do down in Washington. I mean, they too many special interests, too many cooks in the kitchen. I think we get it done in New Hampshire better than anywhere, and we'll continue to do that.
On spending, your counterpart was just here, Representative Alexis Simpson. She told us she does not think the money is there to have universal access to education freedom accounts. There's the bill in, I think House Bill 115 it is. Fiscal Note says the cost is indeterminate if you want to make universal access to EFAs. Do you have a ballpark on how many millions of dollars it's going to cost for universal access?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have the money to keep doing what we're doing, watching these school budgets continue to balloon out of control. The Education Freedom Account costs a flat, to use round numbers, $5,000 per student. The spending per student in the public schools just keeps going up and up and up and up and up, and we've got to do something to rein that in.
What's your read on what happened in Kearsarge? Obviously, it sounds like school choice is popular with a lot of people, but also people are voting to keep higher spending for their local schools.
The people who showed up on that day certainly did. I'd be curious to know what percentage of the tax base was represented in that vote. But I guess we'll never know that.
Back to the EFAs. The argument in 2021 was this is for low-income kids to help them get out of schools that are failing. Obviously, the message has to change now a little bit. Why should the state be subsidizing the rich kids, if you will, who are already probably in private school and can definitely afford it?
Well, I'll remind you, Adam, my messaging on this has been the same all along. This has always been for everybody. It's been about leveling the playing field among all educational opportunities. We hear a lot about fully funding education. Well, there are a lot of students out there that are not being funded at all by the state, and why is that? Why should we be putting our thumb on the scale saying this educational opportunity is worthy of being paid for by the state? These ones are not. We have to be agnostic toward these opportunities, let parents and students choose the option that's best for them. I mean, we know this in every other part of our life. Choice is where quality comes from. If we were all forced to be married to someone that someone else decided, that marriage would not work out very well. The marriages we have, on average, don't work out the best already, but imagine what would happen if we forced those relationships to happen. It would not work. If you were forced to go to a particular grocery store and not the one you like, how well would that work out for you? So.
Tangential on education, the governor and now the Senate president have both said they want to ban cell phones in the classroom for students. Where does that rank on your priority list?
Well, I was kind of surprised by this coming out of nowhere. I have a few thoughts about it. One is what teachers are allowing their kids to be, playing Angry Birds in class. Another thought I have is how many instances of bullying and abuse have been uncovered by a student recording these things happening. So there's probably some balancing that needs to be taking place there. I got to tell you, if I were teaching a class, I would not want students, playing on their phones instead of paying attention. So.
All right, an interesting debate ahead there. Another debate that's out there. You've been out in front on the cannabis legalization debate. Are we going to see you as personally involved in this session?
No, to me, that ship has sailed. I mean, we had an opportunity with the last governor to put that issue behind us, and we frankly blew it. So I don't imagine coming back to that for another decade, probably.
From a philosophical standpoint, this is the live free or die state. Why is it that this issue is going backwards right now?
To me, we elected a governor to lead the state, and that is not a priority for her, and so that is not a priority for me or the rest of us at this point.
All right, so those bills that are out there, we'll see how they do, but it'll be an interesting one. Libertarians and Democrats have been consistent defenders of the 2018 bail law that made it much easier for offenders to get out of jail. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there have been a lot of dysfunction that came with that law. There have been attempts to fix it. It hasn't worked so far. Supporters of the law dismissing these cases, saying, oh, these are just anecdotes, you're just telling stories, but they keep piling up. What part of this law is worth keeping?
It doesn't sound like much. So I think we can all agree that there are people who should be held and people who should not, and the system that we have in place should keep the people held who need to be held and not hold the ones that don't need to be held. So I think we are well on our way to being able to figure this out. I'm sure we'll finish the work that we got done last year and put things how they should be.
On the state budget, whether it's education policy, taxes, will we see efforts by the state to incentivize towns and cities to adopt policies that you might be more in agreement with?
Sorry, one more time?
I guess, will there be efforts to try and incentivize towns and cities to do things and adopt policies on a more conservative bent, keep taxes low, things like that?
Well, I tell you, we might have to put a leash on some of these local governments, right? We have a state with a constitution. We have a duty to protect our citizens. These towns do not have a constitution. They don't have this duty. They are creations of the state. If they are infringing on the rights of our citizens, it's our duty to step in and protect them.
And this is a little inside baseball, but do you think we will see the budget trailer bill used in this budget to advance policy changes, or is it going to be tried to kept more traditionally clean, if you will?
I'm anticipating it being fairly clean. Again, that is typically a tool that is used when there is much disagreement between the chambers or maybe between the legislature and the executive branch. I'm looking forward to a lot more cooperation this year, and so I wouldn't expect to see a lot being piled into that trailer bill.
All right.
But you never know.
All right, House Majority Leader Jason Osborne, thanks for joining us on Close Up.
All right, thank you.
All right, and we'll be right back with a closer look at some of the key issues raised in Governor Kelly Ayotte's inaugural address. Stay with us.